Well, I'm excited to be with you this morning, and it's very exciting for me to welcome my good friend and mentor and leader, Mike Bickle from the International House of Prayer in Kansas City. You know, it's been 35 years since I met you, Mike, and I'm blown away by that fact, and just so excited to have you on board to help me promote this new course called Reimagine Your Story. How things going for you out there?
Hey, 35 years ago, we both were younger then. And there was
I
John
had hair.
Wimber, yes, Paul Kane, Bob Jones, there was so many dramatic and dynamic things happening, some challenging things with some phenomenal things. And the Lord put us together sovereignly. And these 35 years have been able to walk together. And then you came to Kansas City. How many years were you here in Kansas City on the staff here?
I was
Between
on
the church and an IHOP, between the both of them.
11 years. Yeah,
11 years. And
came in 96.
What's that?
I came in 96 to take a position with you at the church, which was not the reason God got me to Kansas City. The reason was for the prayer room.
Yeah,
And,
but we didn't even know about
that.
The prayer room was a theory, was a sign on the wall. We didn't even know it.
Yep.
And he ambushed us, and you and me left the church staff and went on. I even tell people, I said, we started IHOP in 1999, 21 years ago. I said, me and Gary Wiens and a bunch of 20-year-olds, we didn't have a clue what we were doing.
Oh.
I so appreciated your input. But the thing that I really loved, Gary, about you, and that's why I'm enthusiastic about even making these comments about your course, you took hold of the intimacy with God, the beauty of God, the beauty of Jesus, the bride of Christ, the bridegroom King Jesus. You took hold of that message in a unique way. I remember 25 years ago, you devoured it and you were searching it out. And I remember I got stuck on some passages. I remember in Hosea 2 once, I go, Gary, would you go figure this out and help me get my brain around this? Because there were all these passages that had bridegroom in them, but we hadn't done the heavy lifting of exegesis, Old Testament passages. But you took your master's degree, theology degree, I don't mean to embarrass you, but your brilliant mind and your communication ability and your weepy little heart. I mean, you cry at the drop of a hat. I love that about you. From your brain and your tears, and you put it around those passages, you really helped me in those early days to land this passage, and all the conversations we had, from 99, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the way that you would teach and the students. And now you're saying you're teaching a course out there. I want to tell your perspective, people are going to participate. This is going to be good because you've got a rich theology of New Testament biblical foundation, Jesus-centric, but we've got the beauty of God without sloppy grace, but we've got the majesty and the awesomeness of God without a mean spirit, because some people get into that, they get a little bit mean sometimes. And you put the two together, and then the Song of Solomon, of which you and I know the Song of Solomon was written first as a story about married love, the beauty of married love between Solomon and his bride, but that's not the extent of it.
No.
Does
have the song of all songs.
It's the song of all songs. And some people limit it to the natural love song. But it's about Jesus and his bride. That's the ultimate purpose of it. But we honor both of them. And for you to take on the Song of Solomon and to bring believers into this new paradigm of a lovesick God who's awakening love in a weak bride, but becomes mature in love that faces disappointment, faces delays, obstacles, challenges. Her heart gets broken, but she won't give up on love. And then the heart of the bridegroom is so moved. I mean, the story of Song of Solomon, the 8th chapter love song, but you've carried it for years and you've gone deep on it. So I think that I'm hoping you have a Q&A time somewhere with your students, because they'll need to tease out some of this, but maybe I'm talking too much. I don't know.
That's the exciting part of this course, Mike, is that every week the students will have a live Zoom connection where they can ask questions and we can dialogue throughout the 6 weeks of the course. And the point, I'm calling it Reimagine Your Story, and the whole idea is that there are points in all of our journeys that are hard to gain perspective on. It's hard to figure out what God's doing. Why is he doing it? I've been obedient. We can all, like Dave Sliker was saying yesterday, he said, I can figure out, why I'm having a hard time when I've been stupid, when I've sinned or missed the mark. I can figure that out.
Me too.
But when I'm really going for it, when I'm really being obedient and then stuff happens, that's when it's difficult sometimes to keep perspective. And that's my goal in the course, is I want people to be able to rewrite those moments in their lives when it just seemed dark, and what was God's purpose in that, and what's the end goal of in the mind of God, so that people can begin to reinterpret their stories according to his perspective.
I heard you say this maybe 25 years ago. I don't remember, but but I've said it many times, but I never quote you. I say it like I came up with it. But it was a phrase you said in one of your little classes. We just had a small number at IHOP in the first year. You said, God is raising up a prepared bride for a worthy son. Remember that? I went, ooh, that's perfect. A prepared bride for a worthy son.
Right out of Revelation. It's right out of Revelation 19. The bride has made herself ready. What does that mean?
But you put that together and that's the end story of the book of Revelation.
It is.
The strange part is the book of Revelation and the Song of Solomon are like best friends, but a lot of folks don't know it. Yep. They think they're polar opposites, but they're not. The book of Revelation is actually a love story. It's God preparing a bride and confronting her adversary with power far beyond even how Moses confronted Pharaoh by the power of God. But that's for another time. But when you said that phrase, a prepared bride for a worthy son, I said, that is the most succinct way. And I've said it 1,000 times in the last 20 years, but I always forget to mention your name.
It's amazing how that works. Gary Wiens said once, and then as someone said, and as I always say, right? That little pro.
But you're taking on, because I know you're teaching, so I already know. You're taking on Song of Solomon 5, which is this ultimate twofold test, which her heart is so disappointed because she wanted several things and it all happened seemingly opposite, but only for a minute.
Yeah.
Now that minute sometimes stretches out a little bit, and so sometimes that minute goes on, but the Lord's staring at her the whole time, and he's never abandoned her, and it's not going to end like it looks like. And he's watching her, and she goes, Song of Solomon 5:8, because the people around her said, how do you still love him? Why don't you give up and just retreat and be offended? Because that's the devil's story. Yep. His narrative is to get you and I offended when we're disappointed or mistreated. Get offended at God. So because if you get offended, you can't grow in love.
That's right.
And she said, oh, he is altogether lovely. I am lovesick. And then the bridegroom comes out of hiding and says, my beloved bride, you have ravished my heart. I mean, that's not the phrase he used, that's another verse, but that's in essence what he said. Chapter 6, verse 5. You overwhelmed me by loving me when you didn't get it the way you thought you should, because it means you're in it for me. You're not just using me to help you, you're in it for love. Yeah, and you've carried that storyline so well.
And that's the story that's shot through Scripture. I mean, one of my main points in this thing is that God takes all his best friends through that. That's his way. Why? Because Jesus is worthy of a bride that's been tested in the crucible, just like his son was, just like God's son was. And so it shouldn't seem strange to us when we have those kinds of seasons. So that's the end goal of the class, is to help people understand that process and the payoff at the end of it.
Last year at Christmas time, I gave a message about Mary, Jesus' mother. And I'm not going to go into it, but Mary, Gabriel appears and says, greatly favored. You're going to have the Messiah, all these amazing things. And ends up, she has 7 or 8 children. I mean, she has 4 sons besides Jesus and a couple daughters. Then her husband, Joseph, dies when she's widowed with 7 or 8 children. Then the town turns on Jesus. Then her children don't even believe in Jesus after the resurrection. I mean, she has so many pain points going on. And I thought, Lord, how could this woman greatly favored have some of these things. I mean, it's quite a, and I said, what's the deal with this? And the Lord has given me some promises, and it's been so many years. And I said, Lord, why is it taking so long? And why is it harder than I thought? And the Lord whispered back, who told you it would be fast and easy? And I thought, well, what do you mean who told me? Well, I'm an American. Isn't it fast and easy? And he said, go look at the book. And I looked at Mary's life and I go, that's what greatly favored? Are you kidding? Some of the things she went through. But I said, I really said this. I go, why so long and hard? And it came like clarity. Who said it would be real fast and easy? And I said, I'm an American. I assumed it would be. I mean, isn't that the American dream, the gospel of the American dream, fast and easy?
I memorized the worship song.
I'm treating you like I treat my favorite lead, my beloved servants. Yes. And I go, oh. So your course is going to help people line up to get perspective. Not that everything is real long and real hard, because there's moments of renewal, refreshing, surprising breakthroughs every step of the way. There's always surprises and breakthroughs. Yeah. So you never know. But for people to stay, the Song of Solomon 5, I will love you, Jesus, even when I'm disappointed and mistreated by the brethren and by circumstances. That is the critical message of the hour, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah, and I think, you know, one of our favorite people in the New Testament is Mary of Bethany, right?
Yes.
And that's the journey she had to go through. She had a direct word from Jesus that her brother's sickness was not going to end in death, and then he died.
Oh, good word.
And he's dead for 4 days, and that 4 days is like a metaphor for that journey. You know, it might as well have been 40 years for what they had to wrestle through during that time. The I call it the violent war of chosen trust.
Wow.
And yeah, you know, and it's those are the common moments of our lives, and there is a perspective to be gained. And so if people will take this course, they'll have a chance to apply that to their own and rewrite their own story, the events of their own lives in that kind of way.
Well, I think you are uniquely qualified because of your biblical journey, because I've seen your tears of love. That's what I was talking about earlier, but you've had some pain that you've had to walk through, and you answered it in my opinion, a biblical way. So you don't just have biblical knowledge, you have life experience, and you got the fruit in your life. And so when you said, hey, come, I want to talk about this course, I go, I'd love to talk about this course. The only takeaway I want is I want the transcriptions, and I want to be able to have it without quoting you and make it my stuff.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I'll send you a link to the sessions and you can have them.
Thank you.
Good. Awesome. Mike,
well, it was a privilege. I love this.
Thanks so much for being with me this morning. It's I can't wait to share this with our crew and with those that are watching, and to take the encouragement that you've given. You've been such a mentor, an example, and a leader in my life. And I just admire you so much and what's going on at IHOP. And I'm so grateful, even at a distance, to continue to be part of the IHOP family.
Well, you're a part of it. You got Dave Sliker and our beloved Alan Hood and the others. We're still a team and a family together. We're in this thing to the end, all of us.
Amen. God bless you, Mike. We'll talk to you again. Bless you so much.